right, that's Loren Davidson right there with Margarita Monday. And I'm going to see if I can get him over here and get him into the interview box here. Let me go over here and see what we got and see if we can bring him in here. All right, can you hear us, brother?
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second here.
Yeah, that's
right. Put on a mask.
All right, Loren Davidson is joining us from the country, Panama, and I've been telling everybody you're in the witness protection program. So after this video, you can only watch this live. After this, we'll have to cut it out, disregard it, and then if somebody else shows up and asking questions, we'll act like we don't know anything about it. There you go, man. So how in the hell are you, man?
I'm awesome. Life is good. I'm enjoying the heck out of my retirement. Being down here, I've been meeting some really nice people, and amazingly, for being in the tropics, it's a little bit chilly here at times, but that's because I'm at 3,500 feet. So
what is that? 66 degrees?
It's right now. It's probably about 70 out there, and it's kind of a little bit rainy today.
Yeah.
Down at the coast, it's kind of like Florida in the summer. Probably 85 degrees or so. Hey, they just had blizzard warnings in the high spots of Hawaii yesterday, so you can have cool weather in the tropics.
Well, there you go. Well, I was telling you yesterday whenever we were talking that I admire you so much for making this move. This was a big deal, and but it was something that you really tell us a little bit how you came to that conclusion, because you had to you go down to Panama and you're like, you know what, I could live here.
Well, it probably all started about 5-6 years ago after I moved to Florida and realized that, I really can do what I want if I plan and prepare for it and decide this is what I was going to do, because that's kind of how I ended up in Florida. And then I was watching way too many tropical house hunting porn shows on HGTV. And looking at all those gorgeous beaches further south from me and thinking, if I could move to Florida, what's stopping me from moving even further south?
That's right.
And that started me doing a whole bunch of research into just about every Caribbean island and Central American countries and a few other places in the world. And I got myself narrowed down to Mexico, Costa Rica, and Panama. And that was the point in time of traveling to visit places. And I got to Costa Rica about 2.5 years ago. And I got to the Yucatan about close to 2 years ago now. I got there February, the month before COVID shut everything down, visiting friends of mine in Merida, which is a beautiful place. But the country there was not something I was really in tune with. Mm-hmm. And then last December, when the COVID net came down enough to make travel possible again, I came out here to Panama to check it out. And I was very favorably impressed. And I was connected into a couple of communities of expats and folks supporting relocation here, and they had all the information that I would need in order to move, find a good immigration attorney, get my driver's license, get my visas, all that stuff. And I'm like, with this being such a nice place and with that level of support and networking, this is the place.
Yeah.
And I came down here a year ago. I was actually here in Boquete a year ago, checking things out. And about halfway through the trip, I realized I'd been creeping toward the I'm going to do this decision. And so once I got back, I started, well, actually before I went back, I was already planning, but once I got back, I started really doing some heavy planning and execution and cleaning stuff out and downsizing as much as is possible for a clutter freak like me to do.
Right.
I managed to get myself down to about a dozen boxes of stuff that I figured I would need during my first year here, and about 2/3 of a 16-foot container full, which is currently sitting in a storage facility in Fort Myers.
Wow.
And so August 4th, I got 2 very full suitcases, a very heavy backpack, and my guitar onto a plane in Miami. And that got me down to Panama City, and the next day I flew in here to Boquete.
Very cool. So how far is how long a flight is that from Miami?
Miami, it's about 3 hours to Panama City. And then there's about another hour flight from there to David, which is the second biggest city in the country and is the nearest big city to here. And Boquete is about a 45-minute drive north up into the short end of the mountains from David.
Okay. Well,
if I need anything major, I was down in David with friends on Friday, shopping for things. They've got big electronics stores. We were in this store called Conway, which from the decor looks like it's owned by Target. They have the big round targets on their sign and everything else, and I'm like,
right.
Gee, I wonder who owns these people.
Yeah, I wonder who owns that. Yeah,
it's like Price Smart, which is our membership discount store here, which I believe is owned by Costco, to the extent that they've got Kirkland plain label booze in the store there.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Now that we got a connection there, we may have to hop a flight. Hippie Chick is here with me, and we may have to
Loren. Good to see your face.
Hi, darling.
Come down and have a beer with you,
Yeah, I'd love to come have a beer with Loren.
Yeah. We got our passports. Yeah. We're good to go. We can go anywhere.
If you can get as far as David, I can certainly pick you up from there. Panama City is about a 6 to 8 hour drive, or as I said, an hour flight.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Well, that's cool, man.
Right now, you got to fly through Panama City to get to anywhere in the country because they're still coming back from the whole COVID thing.
Sure.
But eventually, I am sure that David is going to connect up to some other places, including probably San Jose in Costa Rica. And that'll make it a little more convenient.
Gotcha.
It's the only flight right now up here from Panama City leaves at 7:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So pretty much anytime you get into Panama City, you're going to have to go to a hotel and spend the night there, and then get up uncomfortably early to get over to the airport to make the flight out here. But it's doable.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it. Right now, we've got some really good friends that we're talking about going to Ireland in 2023. It's a lovely country. I've never managed to get there myself. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So that's something we're working on 2023. So it might be 2024 before we make it down to Panama.
But that's okay. You're going to be there, and we'll be.
Radio keeps us pretty busy.
Every month I'm here, I'm more convinced that I'm in the best place for me.
You are.
So
that's
I'm
really cool.
To be around here somewhere. I'm going to start exploring a little around the rest of the country. Starting like the end of next weekend, a week from today, I'm heading down to a place on the coast called Boca Chica, which is about an hour and a half from here driving. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to just spend time looking at the ocean. I'm going to day trip out to some of the local islands to see like the wildlife and such. Whatever's out there, dolphins, whales, monkeys, whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
And it'll just be a few days of like just checking out that little piece of this country that I'm living in.
I hear you. Well, listen, man, we are proud that you are the Beach Buddah Artist of the Month. And
that's a really cool thing.
I thought that was really cool. And I was talking to the Beach Buddah yesterday, and Joe actually kind of works behind the scenes and does a lot of things, or whatever. And he's like, well, I was having a really hard time reaching out to him. And I'm like, well, listen, he's in the witness protection program now. He's kind of hard. He only responds to people he actually knows. And he's very leery about that.
Not only that, but my internet provider just changed mail servers about 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And so a lot of stuff that used to come through to me is now getting stuck in their spam filters.
Oh, that's probably what happened.
And
yeah.
I just had to clear. I just went in there yesterday and I found stuff that I should have known about last week, including a couple of notes from my package forwarder, who's like, "You've got stuff here. Please come down and get it." And I've been like, why isn't he letting me know that my stuff is in? I know that he's probably got stuff for me.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to have to go in there every couple of days until I get that configured right and tell the server, no, let this stuff through until it learns better.
Back in the...
it takes, if it's surface mail, it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get to me because everything goes to my forwarder in Miami, and then once a week it gets put on a boat, which takes about a week to get here. So it takes a little time for stuff to arrive, but email mostly works. Facebook Messenger works.
Yep.
And, the big thing here is WhatsApp, which is just all instant messaging and some of it's phone, and everybody outside the U.S. uses WhatsApp. Yeah,
I've noticed that. I just and it popped up on ours the other day on the Tiki Man Radio Facebook and connected WhatsApp to that. That seems to be the thing now. So. We're doing that, but you got me to thinking, because I confirmed that Beach Buddah Coffee will be sending you a package of, the coffee and that stuff. But back in the day, not that I know anything about this, but I did watch a lot of Miami Vice. Back in the day, they would try to drugs that was being smuggled, would be covered in coffee, right? It would throw off the scent of the dog and all that stuff. They've since trained the dogs better, but I got to thinking about that. They're sending coffee to you in the country of Panama, and I wonder if it'll make it.
It's like sending coals to Newcastle.
I hope it makes it through customs. Yeah.
In one of the biggest coffee growing regions in the country.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I've got a bag of coffee in my freezer right now, which I got from a friend of mine who helps run an organic farm about 5 miles from here.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool!
We've got a volunteer coffee plant out on the side of the building. I walk by it every time I go down to do laundry.
Well, that's great. Now you can tell everybody about Beach Buddah Coffee because you'll have it there, and you can chat.
I've actually started drinking coffee, which I never drank coffee. I tried it when I was 16. It was horrible stuff. I had to put about half cream and sugar in the thing in order to make it barely unpalatable. I decided it wasn't worth the effort. But coffee seems to have the whole coffee producing thing seems to have gotten better over the years.
Yeah.
And with both drip and a French press, I've managed to turn this stuff into something that I can actually drink if I throw in 2 sugars and a teensy bit of Bailey's.
Well, there you go.
Perfect.
And everybody has their own little thing. I mean, I've been drinking coffee since I was about 14 years old, and the world is a better place for me and the people I have to deal with if I have coffee.
That's right.
So it's very important to me, and we're just so proud to have Beach Buddah Coffee as one of our sponsors. I mean, I was doing radio for years.
Chris is awesome people. I love getting to interact with them every now and then. It's really good for people, and I'm grateful to him for having taken this somewhat retired old Trop rocker and put me out in front of some people.
Well, speaking of which, I want to play one of your songs, which, of course, What Could Possibly Go Wrong is one of my favorites, obviously.
Of course.
We'll play that. We'll come back and we'll tell everybody the story behind the song, okay?
All righty.
All right. If you're just joining us, Loren Davidson is joining us from an undisclosed location because he's in the Witness Protection Program. And so this song right here has a little bit of a story behind it. And, of course, it's our motto here at Tiki Man Radio, What Could Possibly Go Wrong? All right. So here we go. It's a little bit of rocker, Mr. Loren Davidson.
Well, the scientists ran jet skis and they're giving out free beer. I think our plans for what we do today just become real clear. I watched my cousin do this once, couldn't be that hard. Let's fill the cooler and get going and head out for that big sandbar. What's the worst thing that could happen? What could possibly go wrong? Maybe someday we'll be laughing or wind up in somebody's song. If one of you could hold my beer, I'll try to turn this sucker on. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? What could possibly go wrong? Let's strap 1,000 Roman candles to the bottom of this chair. I think that we could make it fly and hover in the air. We'll put out some old mattresses so you got someplace soft to land. We'll film it all for YouTube. That's an awesome plan. What's the worst thing that could happen? What could possibly go wrong? Maybe someday we'll be laughing or wind up in somebody's song. I took a high school class in physics and I know just how this should be done. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? What could possibly go wrong? Well, we're chasing some big badass ghost who's haunting people's dreams. I betcha we can catch him if we just don't cross the streams. Hey, look, we finally got him. Sorry about the mess. We'll send an invoice in the morning. Pay it or be possessed. What's the worst thing that could happen? What could possibly go wrong? There are folks who think we're crazy, but we'll wind up in someone's song. I've got this nasty proton gun. Cross your fingers, switch me on. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? What could possibly go wrong? What's the worst thing that could happen? What could possibly go wrong? Maybe someday we'll be laughing or wind up in somebody's song. I tell you, we're professionals, so kids, don't try this stuff at home. Now, what's the worst thing that could happen? What could possibly go wrong?
Rocking it there, Mr. Loren Davidson.
Oh, man,
yeah.
That sounded awesome.
Yeah, you know, I was down, I flew down to Inglewood, yeah, and the crowd goes wild, by the way. I flew down to, Diane and Pablo had Diablo's Creek, and a house concert venue down there. Mm-hmm. And so as a Father's Day weekend, I flew down there to do a show. I think, I forget who, Danny and Chris were there. I think B-Man and Micho were there. And we were broadcasting it, and Loren was there, and he walks up to me and he says, I got an idea for a song. It's called What Could Possibly Go Wrong? I'm like, I love it.
That's perfect. And it is an awesome song.
I think I already had the song. I was just letting you know that I knew what your motto was and that you should really know about this song.
Yeah, and you and Jeff Brewer were kind of working on a similar song at the same time.
We were, and Jeff came out with this thing called "What Could Happen."
What could happen? Yeah.
And I had to noodle on mine for a while longer, and then one day I was floating through Facebook, and somebody, Tom Melendez, Batman, had posted this picture of a sign down it turns out down on Summerlin Key, about mile marker 24 or so right near Howard Livingston's place. And it was a jet ski rental place, and they had this old dead jet ski out front, and there was a sign on it that said jet ski rentals and another sign that said free beer. And
Wow.
I looked at that and I said, what could possibly be wrong? And since Tom suggested that this was shortly after Jim Morris passed on, and since and Tom said something about this is the type of thing that Jim would write a song about, and so I kind of borrowed a little bit of Jim's style for that.
Sure, yeah.
And
it came out great. I mean, it's a
history.
It's a rocking song.
Basically, it took once I had that, I was off and running, and I had the basics of the song within an hour.
You know, and it makes me smile every time I hear it because I know the story behind the song, and you know, of course, I just love it because what could possibly go wrong. But you mentioned Jim Morris, and we were talking about DJ Jeff last week because the subject came up. Who coined the trop rock phrase and all that stuff, and some people's names came out, and I'm like, whoa, wait just a minute here. All right, we got to give credit where credit is due. DJ Jeff was the man who started this whole crazy thing that we're doing on the radio, and I think it's important, and a lot of people that have came into the trop rock family or whatever, unfortunately, didn't get to ever see Jim Morris play and all that stuff, So I mean, it's important that we always kind of go back and give credit where credit is due.
I think it's important to acknowledge our roots, and Jim did so much for this genre and for people in general. He raised a lot of money for charity along the way, and in a similar way to DJ Jeff, those people, them, Sonny Jim, people like that were really kind of the nexuses around which a lot of what our community is now originally kind of coalesced around.
That's right.
Without them, it would have been a very different thing. And without DJ Jeff and without Jim Morris, it's becoming a very different thing, which is not to say it's bad. I mean, everything grows and evolves.
Sure, yeah.
You either evolve or you die.
That's right. But it's always great to go back and talk about how it all started and have unfortunately we lost DJ Jeff and Jim Morris, and but it's always important, because back in those days, after DJ Jeff passed away, Johnny B launched Tiki Island Radio, and then of course he and I started working together, and it was the one thing that Johnny B did not want to do was to kind of copy what DJ Jeff was doing at the time, and so Tiki Island Radio was more of a Polynesian style type of radio station, which it was a cool vibe, the ohana on the island and all that good stuff, and but he was very particular about that when he launched Tiki Island Radio because of the respect for DJ Jeff.
Yeah, I know I had stuff in their playlist too back in the day.
Yeah,
because I remember when he came along with that. But what Jeff had worked, and it worked for us in that place in that time, and a lot of very cool things came out of that, and to this day, I feel privileged to have been a part and had whatever remove from those early days.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, buddy, I'm so glad to, see you. It's really cool that we can do this whole video interview now as opposed to being on the phone. The phone is great to talk to somebody, but actually seeing you and seeing where you're at and all that good stuff, and everybody that is chiming in on YouTube and all that stuff are really enjoying the interview today.
That's great. I am too. And one of these days when things are a little slow, we should just chat for a while just for grits and shins. Like
that's great.
Yesterday.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Because I love talking with you guys, and it'd be nice to have just the portal out there that I could just step through and be down in the chocolate bar or something.
There you go. Well, the last time, and you guys remember this.
I remember it. He was awesome.
Last time he was here, he did a little mini concert for us here in the chocolate bar and had a great time. They still talk about that night when you were here, you know. And the funny thing is, Jack Mosley was here not too long ago. And, of course, Jack played here last summer. And Jack was walking around the chocolate bar. And he's like, where the hell is my picture? All I see is Loren Davidson here. Where the hell is my picture at? You know? So I immediately had to print off some new pictures, and replace some
Jack
and all that stuff. But your picture's still in the chocolate bar, of course, you know. But I thought that was funny as hell, you know. He's like, where the hell? All I see is Loren Davidson in here. What the hell's going on? You know, being the Jack that Jack is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack is a fun man. I love Jack.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, we love him too. So, and we missed you down in Key West this year. You know, usually you're part of the Songwriter Showcase, Key West bound, and man, we moved that thing over to Dirty Harry's, and we all don't have to like share sweat like we used to. You know.
Well, as long as you're back in the open air space rather than right in up next to the stage, it gets a little close up near that stage.
Yes, it does.
But Dirty Harry's is nice.
I've played there before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice, and they got fans going. We had a lot more room. We had plenty of bartenders. We had food. We had all kinds of things. It was a great transition. As you said, everything evolves as we go forward, and we kind of outgrew the Tiki House, and we thank them for all the years of kickstarting this whole Songwriter Showcase. But man, we had a blast, and it's open air. You know, Dirty Harry's has that open air area there, and it's very cool.
Well, the old conventional wisdom is whenever you're an entertainer, if you have the choice between cramming a small space till the walls bulge out and half filling a larger space, always do the smaller space.
Yeah, there you go.
And to a certain extent, that probably helped the showcase in the earlier years because it was just chock full of people all the time. I managed to fill the place at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning one year.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean it's and it was the same way this year. I mean it we started at 11 and we go to about 7. What did we do, B-Dog? We went to 7? Is that what it was? Or 6 something or another, whatever. We had to get out
something
there.
Like that.
They have a house band that comes on called the Dirtbags, and they come on around 8 or 9 o'clock at night, so we have to get the hell out of there, which is great because now we can actually go and actually have a dinner.
Have dinner and enjoy some of the town if you got any energy left.
That's right. That's right, man. That's right. Well, buddy, I appreciate you being on the show, taking time out. I know you got to go meet with some friends and stuff, and we want to thank you for being
it's Sunday. We got brunch down at my new local bar, Mike's Global Grill, which is a very comfortable place. You know, there are ways in which it reminds me a little, the feel of it, of the old Cork and Stogie.
Oh wow,
man.
That's cool.
Being on
that level, it feels like home.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I miss
some real good friends here, and this whole town. There is a feel to it, at least in the expat part of it, that reminds me a lot of Key West. You know, the size, the way you're always running into people, and I think there's also the element of people who wind up here are people who didn't fit somewhere else.
That's very cool, man.
That is cool.
Like Key West. I mean, if you fit in Omaha, Nebraska, you're not going to get a wild hair up and say, why don't I just move to Panama?
That's
very
right.
True.
I mean, the winters, but still, this is a long way to come.
Yeah. Well, I miss those days on the veranda of the Cork and Stogie, and I love that part of town. I love being at that part. I always like to stay at the Speakeasy because it was basically right across the street there, and it was
right across from there. The old Saul the Angler.
Yeah, and it was a good part of you get away from the craziness a little bit, especially if you want to sleep. That's the best place to stay is down at that end, but I do miss those days. And real quickly, your music is still out there, and even though you're semi-retired, right?
LorenDavidson.com hasn't been updated in a while, but it still works.
Yeah.
And, I'm on Amazon, I'm on Spotify, I'm on, CD Baby. All my stuff is available digitally. I don't have any physical CDs anymore because I'm sure as heck not going to be shipping anything out of Panama.
That's right.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So everything is available digitally. I've got my own channel on YouTube still, which I may eventually put something up on new, but burn that bridge when we get to it. And, anybody who wants to will make a few extra cents for me, put something of mine on repeat on Spotify before you go to bed and just turn the volume down and it'll churn and churn and churn. And I might make a few cents by morning.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, after the show is over, I'll go back and cut this interview out separately, which will be on YouTube. And I'll try to send it to you and maybe you can load it up on yours as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Put it someplace where I can get to it via Dropbox or stuff.
Yep.
If you try to send a 20-minute interview on video, my mail server is going to choke and say "Sorry, Charlie."
We'll take care of it.
And it's Microsoft, so really throwing the accent on there was not to demean anybody. It's just
I know. Well, buddy, thank you again for being the Beach Buddah Artist of the Month, and we were down in
for giving me an opportunity to hang out with you here on the radio on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I always love getting to do that. I especially love getting to do it in person, which obviously I can't do from here, but you guys have an awesome day and just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm glad you're there doing what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. We're going to leave everybody with a song called The Green Flash, which we talked a lot about when we were down in Key West and we were out on the sandbars and all that stuff, watching the sunset go down, and we were talking about you. So, buddy, we love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, brother.
Thank you, and goodbye. Thank you to everybody for tuning in today, and make it the best possible day you can make it wherever you are.
There you go.
Hey, you
Thanks,
too, man.
Loren.
We'll see you, brother. Here we go. The Green Flash.